Hello, this is David Sneathen with Alpha Omega Revelation. We're reading The Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and this is chapter 11, which is called Truthfulness, and I'm going to go ahead and begin. Again ye have heard that it was said to them of old time, Thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by the heaven, for it is the throne of God, nor by the earth, for it is the footstool of his feet, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, for thou canst not make one hair white or black, but let your speech be yea, yea, nay, nay, and whatsoever is more than these is of the evil one. Matthew 5:33 through 37. The Christian Church has until now been strangely uncertain about the interpretation of this passage. Since the time of the primitive Church, commentators have oscillated between a rigorism which rejects every oath as a sin and a more liberal position which rejects every frivolous oath and downright perjury. In the early church, the commonest interpretation was that perfect Christians were forbidden to swear at all, but the weaker brethren were allowed to swear within certain limits. Augustine represents this latter point of view. He found himself in agreement with the teaching of Plato, the Pythagoreans, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and other pagan philosophers, who maintained that oaths were beneath the dignity of gentlemen. In the Reformation confessions, it is expressly affirmed that there can be no question of Jesus prohibiting oaths exacted by the state in a court of law. Were not such oaths expressly enjoined in the Old Testament? Jesus himself had sworn before a court of law, and St. Paul frequently employs expressions of an oath-like character. Next to scriptural proof, the distinction between the spiritual and worldly realms was of decisive importance for the Reformers. What is an oath? It is an appeal made to God in public, calling upon him to witness a statement made in connection with an event or fact, past, present, or future. By means of the oath, men invoke the omniscient deity to avenge the truth. How can Jesus say to such an oath is sin from the evil one, ek tu poneru, satanic? The answer is to be sought in his concern for complete truthfulness. The very existence of oaths is a proof that there are such things as lies. If lying were unknown, there would be no need for oaths. Oaths are intended as a barrier against untruthfulness, but it goes further than that, for where alone the oath claims final truth, is space in life given to the lie, and it is granted a certain right of life. The Old Testament had expressed its condemnation of the lie by the use of the oath, but Jesus destroys the lie by forbidding oaths altogether. Here as there, it is the same question, one and undivided, of the destruction of untruth in the life of the believer. The oath which the Old Testament set against the lie is seized by the lie itself and pressed into service. It is thus able, through the oath, to establish itself and to take the law into its own hands. So the lie must be seized by Jesus in the very place to which it flees, in the oath. Therefore, the oath must go, since it is a protection for the lie. There are two ways in which untruthfulness can undermine the oath. Either it may actually insinuate itself into the oath, perjury, or else disguise itself in the form of an oath by invoking some secular or divine power instead of the living God. When once the lie had entrenched itself behind the oath, there was no other way of ensuring complete truthfulness but by abolishing the oath altogether. Let your speech be yea, yea, and nay, nay. This is not to say that the disciples are no longer answerable to the omniscient God for every word they utter. It means that every word they utter is spoken in his presence, and not only those words which are accompanied by an oath. Hence they are forbidden to swear at all. Since they always speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth, there is no need for an oath which would only throw doubt on the veracity of all their other statements. That is why the oath is of the evil one. But the disciple must be a light even in his words. It is clear that the only reason why Jesus prohibits the swearing of oaths lies in this concern for truthfulness. It also goes without saying that he admits no exceptions, however high the court of law may be. But at the same time it must be admitted that the abolition of oaths is in itself no guarantee that the truth will be told. Indeed, it may only lead to its concealment. No general rule can be laid down to enable us to decide where this is so, i.e., where an oath is desirable precisely in the interests of the truth. Each case must be decided on its own merits. The churches of the Reformation were convinced that every oath demanded by the state was covered by this exception. But it is questionable whether it is possible to lay down a general rule like that. There is, however, no question that when such a case appears to arise, an oath can only be sworn where all its implications are first made clear beyond all doubt. Secondly, a distinction must be drawn between oaths which apply to past or present facts which are known, and oaths which pledge us with reference to the future. Since the profession of Christianity does not confer an infallible knowledge of the past, the invocation of Almighty God will serve only to establish the integrity of his mind and conscience, but not to confirm a statement which after all may be open to error. Moreover, since he is never lord of his own future, he will always be extremely cautious about giving a pledge, for example, an oath of allegiance, for he is aware how dangerous it is to do so. And if his own future is outside his own control, how much more is the future of the authority which demands the oath of allegiance? For the sake of the truth, therefore, and for the sake of his following of Christ, he cannot swear such an oath without the provisio, God willing. For the Christian, no earthly obligation is absolutely binding, and any oath which makes an unconditional demand on him will for him be a lie which proceeds from the evil one. In such a case, the utmost an oath can do is to testify to the fact that the Christian is bound to the will of God alone, and that every other obligation is for the sake of Jesus conditional upon that will. If in a doubtful case this proviso is not explicitly stated or acknowledged, the oath cannot then be sworn, otherwise the Christian would be deceiving the authority. Let your speech, however, be yea, yea, nay, nay. The commandment of complete truthfulness is really only another name for the totality of discipleship. Only those who follow Jesus and cleave to him are living in complete truthfulness. Such men have nothing to hide from their Lord. Their life is revealed before him. Jesus has recognized them and led them into the way of truth. They cannot hide their sinfulness from Jesus, for they have not revealed themselves to Jesus, but he has revealed himself to them by calling them to follow him. At the moment of their call, Jesus showed up their sin and made them aware of it. Complete truthfulness is only possible where sin has been uncovered and forgiven by Jesus. Only those who are in a state of truthfulness through the confession of their sin to Jesus are not ashamed to tell the truth wherever it must be told. The truthfulness which Jesus demands from his followers is the self-abnegation which does not hide sin. Nothing is then hidden. Everything is brought forth to the light of day. In this question of truthfulness, what matters first and last is that a man's whole being should be exposed, his whole evil laid bare in the sight of God. But sinful men do not like this sort of truthfulness, and they resist it with all their might. That is why they persecute it and crucify it. It is only because we follow Jesus that we can be genuinely truthful, for then he reveals to us our sin upon the cross. The cross is God's truth about us, and therefore it is the only power which can make us truthful. When we know the cross, we are no longer afraid of the truth. We need no more oaths to confirm the truth of our utterances, for we live in the perfect truth of God. There is no truth toward Jesus without truth toward man. Untruthfulness destroys fellowship, but truth cuts false fellowship to pieces and establishes genuine brotherhood. We cannot follow Christ unless we live in revealed truth before God and man. That is the end of chapter 11, and next time we'll read chapter 12, Revenge. I hope that God is blessing you with the reading of this little book that I just love so much. So God bless you, and I hope that you have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.